Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Writing rules books for board games is hard, and one of the most common complaints that I see levelled at board games is that the rules book is terrible. But that is normally the result of bad writing, bad editing, bad layout, bad translation. Very, very rarely is a rule book bad because the person who wrote it willfully made it so. But that is most definitely the case with Army of Darkness. This is a light filler game which I have in my collection simply because the Evil Dead franchise is one of my favourite horror movie franchises ever, and I thought this might be a bit of dumb fun. And it is. The game actually is dumb fun. It's not great, it's not bad, but what is bad is the way the rules are presented. So I thought I'd do a little spotlight on this particular game and show you what happens when the person writing the rules has their heart in the right place but their brain in the wrong place. First of all, a very, very quick rundown of how this game works. There are 4 characters to choose from. We have Sheila, Arthur, Henry, and Ash. Each character has a very simple special ability, and in all other regards they are exactly the same, with the minor exception that if Ash is in the game, Ash will get to take the first turn. These cards show your hero in a good form on one side, and on the reverse, an evil form. To set up the game, every player picks a character and places it in front of them with the good side facing up, and then starting with Ash, assuming that someone is playing Ash, you will draw cards from the draw pile until you find a monster. So we can do that now. We have... that's an event. And that's a monster. The monster we place in front of us to start the formation of a pile of monsters, and any cards that were not monsters are placed in a discard pile. Everybody at the table does this, and then everybody picks a hand of 5 cards and the game is ready to begin. And the idea is very simple. You have 2 objectives. You want to have the Necronomicon item in front of you, and if you are good, you want to have no monsters in front of you. If you are bad, you want to have a stack of at least 5 monsters in front of you as the beginning of your formation of the Army of Darkness. And during the game you will flip from good to evil and back again under certain circumstances, and in that regard this game is a little bit like Fluxx, where the objectives change on the fly and you have to adjust accordingly. You may have spent a long time killing off monsters, suddenly you become evil, and now you have to start building that stack of monsters back up again instead. And because those objectives change all the time, and they can change from situations that happen to you or situations that other players impose on you, the game itself is a bit chaotic. But play itself is incredibly simple. On your turn you will draw 1 card, and then you have to play 1 card. There are of course monsters. This is a crawling skeleton. I'll cut your gizzard out. And if you play a monster, you can play it in front of you on top of your own stack of monsters, which of course you don't want to do if you're a good player, but you do want to do if you're an evil player. Alternatively, you can place that monster on another player's monster stack. Another type of card you can get is an ally. These are played in front of you and they will confer a bonus of some kind. Furthermore, if at any point you are injured, you can use the ally to absorb the damage at the risk of losing that ally. At any time you can only have 1 active ally. Any other allies you play, you stack underneath your current active ally. There are also items which are broken down into weapons and equipment, and the weapons are further broken down into complex and non-complex weapons. This is a sword. As with allies, these are placed in front of you. You can only have 1 active weapon and 1 active item at a time. There are lots of different items that confer bonuses of some kind or other, but the item you really want is the Necronomicon. You cannot win if you do not have this item in play in front of you. The final type of card you can play is an event. These are generally used and discarded. This one, for example, allows you to choose a player and get them to discard their hand and redraw a new one with 1 less card in it, because they've cut their hand off. And you will notice just from the few cards that I've shown you here, there are lots of references to the movie, and that is the big draw of this game. It's fun to see those little moments that we love from the film, and also to see them implemented in quite fun ways. It is also worth noting that there are many event cards which you can play out of turn. You can play these whenever the situation arises on another player's turn. This one, for example, allows you to select an evil player and turn them into a goody-goody two-shoes. So you will want to play this on an evil player who is very close to winning and has a big stack of monsters in front of them. So here we are, we're a couple of turns into the game and this is what Ash looks like. He has Goldtooth as an ally, he is armed with a sword, which isn't great for Ash, he actually gets a bonus for using complex weapons like gunpowder. But on our current turn, after drawing a card and playing a card, we have to attack something. The only exception to this is if we have no monsters in front of us. But when you attack, you have a choice. You can attack a monster in front of you, a monster in front of an opponent, or you can attack an opponent directly. In all cases, it's pretty much the same. There is a target value that you need to beat with a d6 roll, and you get to add any applicable bonuses from your active ally and active weapon and any other special abilities. On our turn, with one monster in front of us, it seems like a good idea for Ash to fight the skeleton that's right there. Ash has a sword which gives him a +1 modifier, he has Goldtooth which gives him another +1 modifier, and the skeleton has a target value of 6+. So we roll a dice, and on the 4+, we have managed to defeat the skeleton. When you defeat a monster, they have a victory score on them. You get to draw that number of cards, and any items and allies you find, you get to keep. If you lose a combat, you normally have to choose and discard one card from your hand. An ally can prevent that loss, but you then have to roll a dice, and unless you roll a 1 or a 2, the ally goes instead. And the reason you want to prevent those losses is because the number of cards in your hand is the number of wounds you have. If at any point you have no cards in your hand, you have to flip over your character card from good to evil, or vice versa. And that's it, that's the game. And you should be able to see from that very quick rundown that this is a very fast-paced draw a card, play a card, attack something. Normally you're going to want to attack monsters that are in front of you while you're good, or monsters in front of another player if they're good. You're going to want to stack monsters on other good players, or stack them in front of yourself if you're evil. And there are loads of events and loads of monsters that you're going to be playing on other players at the table. It's very in your face, it's very confrontational, it is very in the malicious spirit of Army of Darkness. And because the Army of Darkness is known for being funny and a little bit silly, the rules have been written accordingly, and it makes it a chore to read them. Simply put, the designers have tried to inject character into this rule set, and really, they shouldn't have done. There's nothing wrong with putting a little bit of character in the intro, something to set the mood, something to say, hey, you're about to play an Army of Darkness game and this is going to be a bit silly, but they continue through the entire rule set. For example, under the heading play a card, this is how they have presented that very simple rule. This is another action that must be performed. If you can't play a card that's meaningful in any way, or just plain don't want to play a card, discard a card. In other words, the playing of a card shalt happen after the drawing of a card. Thou shalt not proceed unto the playing of a card until thou hast drawn a card, and the playing of a card shalt follow the drawing of a card. Thou shalt not commence to attacking until thou hast first drawn a card, and then anon played a card. The number of the card to be drawn and played is 1. 2 or 0 shalt not be played nor drawn. Got it? Hilarious, I'm sure you'll agree. Another simple example is that the player who picks Ash gets to do everything first. So they do suggest that you play with Ash in the game. But then through the rest of the rules, they keep referring to the fact that you may not have Ash in your game. For example, down here under setup it says Ash, or if absolutely necessary, another first player, draws and discards from the deck until he draws a monster. It then goes on to say, each other player, starting with the player to Ash's right, or for the backwards groups, another first player, does the same. Each player, starting with Ash, or, you get the picture, draws a 5-card hand. Play starts with Ash, or yada yada yada. And for a final example, under event cards it reads, event cards are played and take effect, then they are discarded, except when they are not. So there we have it, that is a very brief look at Army of Darkness, the card game. It's a very simple, silly game that I play very, very occasionally when I want a card game where a lot of things are out of my control and I just want to see what kind of silliness we can get up to. But it's also one of the games that I hold up as having one of the worst rule sets ever. Not because they do a really bad job of conveying the rules are so simple it really is quite difficult to mess that up, but because they have tried so hard to inject humour into the rules to the point where it actually gets in the way of easily conveying the information they need to convey. There are definitely other rules books that are worse, in as much as after reading them you still don't really know how to play the game. At least with these ones you do know how to play by the time you get to the end, by the time you have slogged your way through all the humour. But I have never seen rules before that willfully try to make learning difficult. And so it gets my pick. But what gets your pick? Let me know the worst rules book you have ever read in the comments, because that is it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really like this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully, I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.